Elon Musk, Leonardo DiCaprio. What has this got to do with lab-grown meat? What are you talking about? That we need an actor or a nutcase, a genius, to make lab-grown meat move forward. What are you thinking here?
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been impressed with Elon Musk's influence. The e-car was really just a dream 15 years ago, and now, I mean, that company is worth over $800 billion. It's pumping out millions of cars now. More and more people are thinking that perhaps our economy will only have electric cars by 2035. I mean, that's where
Yeah,
we're going, and that's due to one person who's basically went up against the oil industry,
yeah,
the car manufacturers sector, the
a lot,
dealerships that are
a lot.
really influential in the market. He
Yeah.
went up all against that to provide the e-car to us, and he built a case, sold the e-car to us for 15, 20 years, and it worked. So he basically created this pull effect with this new technology. And I think when you look at cultured meat, for example, billions and billions of dollars are being poured into this new technology. There are
Really?
about right now about 150 different research projects around the world looking at cultured meat, seafood, beef, chicken, you name it. It's everywhere. And as you know, Singapore has just legalized the commercialization of lab grown chicken, because by 2030, they want 30% of their meat to be grown in Singapore with no space, zero space. So, how do you do that? Well, you turn labs into farms, or basically. And
Hmm.
so,
Interesting.
when I thought about the money being poured in, most of that money is non-ag. These
Hmm.
people are venture capitalists looking at food. And I just heard that recently Leonardo DiCaprio just invested his money on two startups that are looking at culture and meat. And 12 years ago, it was the same guy who invested millions into this other startup called Beyond Meat, which is
Right.
now worth
Right.
$16 billion.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, when you look at the argument related to culture meat, I mean, environmentally, I mean, the case is pretty
Yeah.
strong from
It's hard.
a from a.
It's truly hard to argue against, but the notion of it is quite foreign. It's quite
Oh,
unusual
it's
for what
still
you need, right?
absolutely, yeah, and
And so what you're saying, you need some. It's a lot of money going into it, but it's very diffuse, and you need somebody to focus it.
you want someone, you want a champion, like Elon Musk did with the e-car essentially, and in food we don't have that. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, maybe Leonardo DiCaprio will be that person, but he's an actor, so he's not necessarily invested. So at
Hmm.
some point, I mean, I actually do think that there's a future for lab grown meat, but there are some substantial challenges when you think
Yeah.
about things like our farmers, land occupancy in Canada. I mean, what do you do with all the fields that are used right now to grow grains to feed
Hmm.
animals?
Yeah.
And so, what do you do with that? And what do you do with labeling? If we are to produce, if we are to use, nurture this technology to serve the public, well, without labeling, how do you do it? We're seeing it with genetically modified salmon. Genetically modified salmon is available. It's 60% less to produce, but we're not reaping the benefits as consumers. We're
Hmm.
not paying our salmon cheaper now. It's actually more
Hmm.
expensive. And so
Hmm.
we're doing all these things. Elon Musk basically built a case for the e-car to consumers, for the environment, for people who want to make a difference,
Hmm.
or even some people want to buy an e-car to save money on gas, whatever.
Or because it's fun. I mean, that's the other element is, just like food's got to taste good. There's got to be some fun to it. I mean, the
Exactly.
e-car, all the fun things that it does. A small percentage relative people are going to buy it, but it's not cheap. You
No.
can buy a cheaper car. Uh, given the price of gas today, the math starts to work a bit better. But I love the way you've brought these two analogies together, and bringing in actor investors. Ashton Kutcher, for example, is a huge investor behind the scenes of a lot of interesting startups
Yeah.
that I can name. So these guys got a lot of cash, man. Like, in our
And
society,
there's
and
a lot
it's
of
nice to see.
non-ag cash, and this is the key issue. Not non-ag people are interested in ag, which is great. They
Yeah,
bring new ideas, but at the same time, you got to sell them. You got to sell them publicly, openly, because right now, what we've seen over the last 30 years are new technologies benefiting farmers, benefiting
mm,
processors, but nobody, and that's why the GMO debate has been a complete disaster because nobody even bothered to make a case to consumers about why we're actually using genetic engineering in
yeah,
in farming at all. And that's why the
yeah.
pesticide issue has become such a hot
Hot button
rod of
issue.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, because it's a problem when it
I
comes to
mean, listen,
communications.
it's right on the package here, right?
It,
Non-GMO proteins, right? It's right
oh, it's
number two.
right there, and you're going to see more of that for sure. Yeah.